Hi, my name is Jason Elsgood. I'm a born and bred Aboriginal Territorian living here on beautiful Larrakia country in the city of Darwin. My company Cross Cultural Consultants have been working with the Northern Territory Seafood Council in the development of a cultural education and representation project aimed at fostering greater cross-cultural understanding within the fishing industry here in the Northern Territory. This is part one of a six-part podcast series, and today we will talk about why it's so important when working with Aboriginal communities that we start from the point of relationships. The key element of understanding the importance of relationships among Aboriginal people is kinship. Imagine a process in which every person is related to every other person. They have a name and a relationship. And within the kinship system you have many fathers, mothers, brothers, for example. The system connects all people in their community. The system has many rules in which apply across the relationships, and these rules extend beyond to animals, the environment in general, and they underpin all ceremonial life for Aboriginal people. Aboriginal people often say that if you don't understand kinship, you can't understand Aboriginal people. Kinship is a fundamental part of how Aboriginal people organise not only their ceremonial life, but their economic life, educational life, and their everyday interactions. Aboriginal people are what has been termed an interactional people. Interactional people have relationships which are not compartmentalised into work and personal, etc. With kinship, you have many relationships with someone which covers the whole range of activities which occur in your life. Western societies promote transactional relationships, where you share close relationships with some people, like family and friends. However, they do not tend to like these relationships to flow into work and vice versa. Western-based societies often form relationships in order to complete certain tasks, and once these tasks have been completed, the relationships either cease or are put on hold, and sometimes they're not picked up again. This makes it difficult for Aboriginal people because they like to work with people who fit into their kinship system and who are also a continual presence in their life. The longer you spend and the more you're able to fit into the interactional relationship space, the more outcomes you will get. It can't just be focused, though, on what's in it for me. A key part of kinship among Aboriginal people is the concept of sharing the products of activity so that everybody who is included in that kinship system receives some part of that benefit. Obviously this has changed somewhat in the modern world, but Aboriginal people still operate on kinship. Everybody else outside the kinship system is somebody they will interact with when they have to, but they will not think about them outside that interaction at all. Without understanding and appreciating kinship, it is very difficult for outsiders to build healthy relationships with Aboriginal people. That's all for today's podcast. I'd like to thank you all for listening. This has been part one of a six-part podcast series for the Northern Territory Seafood Council's Cultural Education and Representation Project. To learn more, visit www.ntsc.com.au or check out the Northern Territory Seafood Council's Facebook page. This project has been delivered by Cross Cultural Consultants and the Northern Territory Seafood Council with funding from the Australian Government.